Allow me to start by commenting on the status of our negotiations. The committee is united behind its chief negotiator, David Young, and we are confident that if our bargaining partners are reasonable, we can bring to our membership a satisfactory contract for their approval. I'd like to begin by talking about the strong economics and bright future for our industry. Box office is up, and broadcasters are getting ad rate increases across the board, driven by content created by members of the WGA, SAG, AFTRA, and the DGA. On Friday, NBC announced quarterly revenues of $3.6 billion and operating profits of $904 million, up 2% from last year. NBC got $1 billion in commitments for advertising based solely on DVR viewing, which shows they have a very successful model for new media. Overall, the conglomerates have reported $1.95 billion in internet revenues. Revenues from global entertainment are expected to grow 7% over the next few years, and profits are expected to climb at a 5% clip. Our industry is thriving.
I just want to say this is a completely new experience for me. It's the first time I've served on a negotiating committee. I've really been struck in the last several months by the reasonableness and discipline of the leaders of this committee. There have been many, many proposals that were introduced and considered, and most of them were kept off the table. This is a very simple negotiation this year. As you know, the question of residuals is one of the most important issues facing us. For many writers I know, residual payments represent a good portion of the money they make in any given year. I know for myself, the residuals I've earned from studio movies have really subsidized all those years I've spent making independent movies, where you really get paid next to nothing, you know. For 50 years, it's been completely accepted that when our work is used and reused, we get paid for it. Now writers are facing this year the alarming prospect of losing this income, both in existing and in new media. To revamp residuals is to destabilize the entire industry. None of us knows what the future of new media will bring, but all that we're asking for is that we continue to get paid when our work is used and reused. We're simply asking for what's fair.
I've spent my life in television. Actually, I spent my childhood watching television. As a writer-showrunner, it used to be that you wrote your show. And now you write your show, but there's a whole additional universe that goes with it. Webisodes, mobisodes, computer games, blogs. And all of these need to be written, the same as the scripts. Now, producers, writers, we all agree how important this new universe is. And we all agree that we want to be there.
So, you know, the companies have asked us to wait while they conduct a study on new media. Well, writers have been asked to wait before, and it's not always turned out in our favor. In 1985, we had a terrible home video definition that we wanted to renegotiate, and the company said, well, not so fast. We don't know how this industry is going to pan out. I mean, home video, who watches video in their home, you know? We have no idea. So they said, but don't worry, we'll take care of you. You just need to wait. Well, 22 years later, or about 22 years later and billions of dollars later, writers are still waiting for their fair deal of that. And frankly, writers are tired of playing catch-up. Now, there's no reason to not talk for 3 years while some studies being made. The companies have made over 100 deals in new media in the past 5 years, and so there's plenty of information now to base a decision on for negotiations. All we're saying is, look, if you get paid, we get paid. If you don't get paid, we don't get paid. We're just looking to negotiate a fair deal. But so far, the companies are telling us, no, 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 talk to the hand, not to the face. We're saying, well, we'd like to talk to the face.
We're all very reasonable professional writers here who've been in this business for quite some time. I'm a Harvard MBA. I couldn't be more, numbers oriented. And what we're trying to do is conduct this in a very business-like fashion. The study appears to us to be more of a stall than a study. Entertainment is the only business that has the accounting term monkey points. I mean, and that refers to profits. You can't have a residual that's based on profits. There are too many things that can be thrown into that. And our own history with business managers has been that we've had to audit extensively to even figure out what's real and what isn't real in these profit statements. Bill, I think, has had an experience himself.
Oh, just Chicago, my last statement being 70 or 80 in the red still, you know, and that's very typical, I think, for any of us who write movies that happen to be successful.
And so our job is to protect the average writer, the writer who's relying upon residuals. That writer isn't a profit participant on The Simpsons. He needs his residual check. And if that's taken away, if it's based on that net profit, he's never going to see, or she's never going to see a residual check for 20 years. I mean, that's a pretty drastic change.
So for us, revenues are clean. They're easily audited. Let's keep this system that has worked for us for 50 years.